Hi Shravani, good morning. Let's wait for a couple of minutes. Okay, let's start. Yes.
Yes, good morning, guys. Let me log into my AWS console. Okay. We have been discussing about auto scaling groups, right? And go to EC2, and we know different auto scaling policies now. One instance is running, but I don't have my auto scaling group. Launch configuration is there. Auto scaling group. Let's create one auto scaling group. We already discussed. I told you that you can induce some traffic and increase the CPU utilization using stress, right? But it's not working. Previously it used to work. I don't know, maybe AWS has improved any protection against stress, or we don't know, but this has to work. Let me log into my, so this is my key pair. I have to go to downloads, and this is my key pair. CD downloads. Okay, SSH command. Yes, here we are, and I'll log in as root user. And you need to install this package. This one, Amazon Linux extras install Apple-Y. I'll also put it in the chat box. So this is the Amazon package, and when you install this, you will be able to um, use whatever there in Amazon Linux extras. There will be various packages here. Let us install it. Okay, after that, yum install. Okay, here, after that, yum install stress -y. Okay, complete. Now, our command is stress CPU, let's say 8, and timeout 20. Let's see whether it's working. Yeah, now it's working. Okay, using this command, you can induce traffic. So we are using 8 nodes to generate traffic. So now let us see the metrics, change in the metrics, stress information dispatching. Successfully 20 seconds it has been completed. So let us go here and I'll check my EC2. Monitoring. See, CPU utilization has hiked up to 5.33%. And let us run this once again. This time we will use 10 nodes. That means we are stressing CPU, and these nodes are like 8 different workers which induce the traffic. Let us increase this to say 15. We will use 15, and also we will induce that traffic which uses CPU utilization for say 60 seconds. 60 seconds would be say 30 seconds, 30 or 40. And you can see that there will be change in these metrics. And again, our period is 5 minutes. Let us make it for 30 seconds. So it's successful. Run 40 seconds. Now let's go and check CPU utilization. See, it's 15% now. Let us create auto scaling group to check how it scale ups. Let us go and create one auto scaling group. Right, and let's name it as test scale up. Launch template, let's use this. Or I can also use launch configuration. We have both. I can use this. Next, VPC subnets. You can choose all of those subnets. Next, no load balancer. If we have load balancer, yes, we can. Minimum capacity is 1, desired 2, and maximum is 4. We will go with the target tracking policy, or we can also use simple scaling policy. Let's use simple scaling policy. Or it's simple to use. We know how simple scaling policies work. You have to use alarm. We have scale up alarm already, scale up alarm and scale down. So let us use average CPU utilization. If average CPU utilization is greater than 30% or say 40%, let's say 30, we have to see, right? It's easy to cross 30%. If average CPU utilization is more than 30%, then this is warm up. We are setting before including any metric, before considering any metric, CPU utilization here in our case. It can be any other metric also. You can choose in this drop down. Before considering it, it takes 60 seconds in between. Right, and yes, next. We don't want notification, let's skip it. And also tags, create auto scaling group. So desired capacity is 2, it will immediately add another instance. I already have one instance, but desired capacity is 2. Let us go to instances and check. See, one more instance has came in. And our average CPU utilization has to be that if it is greater than 30%, then my auto scaling group has to add more instances. And using this stress utility, you can improve that. Imran is not well. Join the classes. Okay, Imran. Uh, no problem. Hope you are well now, right? Yeah. Okay, then going back. So here, let me share these commands. First, you need to install this package. Okay. And I am logging into my EC2. Yeah, this is the command. This is to the command to use any package from Amazon related to Linux instances. Install stress on Linux EC2, install and run. And then yum install stress -y, and for uptime So this is the command. Yes, you can take screenshot of it and try it later. So here there are two hyphens. But yeah, anyway, two hyphens CPU. Using 8 workers or 8 nodes, you are inducing some traffic and within the time window of 20 seconds. Okay. Now let me go to EC2 and we will run the same command using 40 nodes, 30 seconds. And obviously, when this is already 15% CPU utilization, and now it has reduced to 11.5. Now we are trying to increase the CPU utilization using 40 nodes. So it's completed. Now let's go and check. Why there is no increase? Because there are two, right? Two instances are there, but this is related to my instance. This instance, there has to be increase. Monitoring. It's same. It's dropping down. Okay, using the stress command, you can check. It takes some time. When your CPU utilization meets that 30%, you can see auto scaling group adds more instances. And let us look into the other metrics. But see, the network has been increased. Now it has slightly increased, 12 point. Now it's some 12.1. Right, using this stress command, you can induce traffic and test. If it reaches 30%, or you can set CPU utilization to 15% and check how your auto scaling group adds more instances. You have one more instance is there. So that is not true, but your auto scaling group has added. So CPU is utilization is rising. That's why. Also try with simple and step scaling policies. Okay, so here it's 7.5%. Yes, you can induce more traffic using, you can increase CPU utilization using stress. Okay, that is about auto scaling. And any doubts related to auto scaling, guys? Using stress CPU, what needed? Yeah, you clear? Okay. You have to install this. You have to run these commands. Log in as a root user and run these commands. That's it. Okay, so we have talked about EC2 and other EC2 related services like elastic load balancing, auto scaling groups, right? Let us keep it like this only. We will go on stop. And when you delete your auto scaling group, never leave your auto scaling group. Your auto scaling group always ensures that your desired capacity of instances are up and running always. So delete your auto scaling group immediately, and the instances created by your auto scaling group will also get deleted. Otherwise, check, but don't rely. Usually, when your auto scaling group, if you delete it, it also terminates the instances. If not, also delete your instances. So it takes some time. Still, my auto scaling group is gone. No, not yet. Status is deleting. Yeah, now you can see these two are created by auto scaling group, and when you delete your auto scaling group, those two instances which are launched by auto scaling group will also get deleted. Okay, just give me a minute, guys. Okay, sorry for that. Let us stop this instance. Yes. And now we have discussed almost about EC2. Today we will start new concept VPC. We have already used this VPC, but let's discuss uh, VPC and having our own VPC. And where you can find this VPC in this services list is under networking and content delivery. VPC is there. VPC means virtual private cloud. And we talked about AWS regions, availability zones, and while choosing a region, uh, we told that that is default VPC and availability zones or subnets. In Mumbai region, we have one VPC. Of course, for three availability zones, three subnet. This is the VPC which I have created. I'll delete it later. So these three are availability zone subnets. So let me open this presentation. Okay, VPC, what VPC means to us? Our EC2 instance so far used one network, and have not looked into details of that network. We have chosen the default option, default VPC and default subnet. Every region will have a default VPC and default subnet. You can have your own VPC. And your own VPC again also residing in AWS region only. Suppose say Mumbai. If you create VPC, it will be there in Mumbai region, but you can allow the traffic as you want. That you can configure your own routing tables, and you can have as many partitions you want in your VPC. You can also bring in firewall to your VPC. All these things AWS is providing an option of having your own private VPC. VPC is nothing but your own network, a virtual network we can say. So if you want to use internet, what you'll do, you'll set up network first. If you have on-premise data center, that's what you do. And here the VPC is not same as a network, and again it comes like private network, virtual private network, VPNs. It's not like VPN is also there in AWS. VPC is having your own virtual private cloud, we can say. What is cloud? Cloud is virtual access of AWS data centers, because we are using AWS cloud. We can call it as virtual private cloud. So in that virtual access also, you can have your private cloud, a private network. And you can, as I said, configure your internet gateway, route tables, all these things. So let us see how we can create VPC. And before going to this VPC, we should also discuss one more thing about subnets and CIDR blocks. So what are these subnets? Subnets are nothing but subnetworks. Let's say in your organization, it's a very large organization, say for example, and your organization has one network. Let us call it as VPC of your organization. And then they have divided this into different subnets. So let's go here. Here, new slide. This is my Mumbai region now. Mumbai region, right? Mumbai has already a default VPC, but I don't want to go with that VPC. So I have an option of creating my own VPC. And here you should also understand one more thing. AWS also has something called private network. All the AWS regions availability zones across the world are connected with each other using that AWS private link. So let us also say there is one more network which is AWS private link or AWS private network. This is AWS. This is AWS worldwide network. This is worldwide network, and there AWS has one VPC in the worldwide network for Mumbai region, and Mumbai region has subnets availability zones. And I don't want to go with default VPC because there will be default options. I want my own virtual private cloud. So what I'll do, I'll go and create my own virtual private cloud. And also my own subnets, dividing my big network into sub networks. But why people want to do that? So here my requirement is I'm not keeping everything. Sorry. Okay. So let's say I want two sub networks. This is my own network. Let's call it as my VPC. This is my VPC, and I wanted to divide my VPC into two portions. Why? Because I'll keep EC2 instances. Let's call this as EC2 instance. I'll keep my EC2 instances where my application server is running here in this subnet. And this is my subnet 1. This is subnet 2. This is application server. This is also application server or front-end server. I want these two EC2 instances to be in subnet 1 and I want these EC2 instances in subnet 2 because they have databases. Okay. And why I want to segregate them in subnet 1 and subnet 2 is my application servers, they have to handle traffic coming from the outside internet. So they have to be exposed to internet. They need a public IP. So these two need public IP, right? They need public IP. And I don't want my database servers to be exposed to internet. I will not assign any public IP to my database server. And also one more thing, I don't want a internet gateway attached to their network. So what is this internet gateway now? Let us understand this network. So this is my network. I have two subnets, and these two subnets are logically separated with something called as CIDR range, which we will talk about. But how this network works is, suppose these computers has, if they want to communicate with each other, they can communicate within the private network and using public network. They have two options. These four instances, these computers, if they want to communicate with each other, either they can use the private network, which is called VPC, their network. Suppose your home network, your laptop, your phone, and another device, your TV, say for example, your TV is connected to your Wi-Fi and your phone is also connected to your Wi-Fi, and you will be able to stream YouTube videos, etc. You can connect to your TV, right? But they have to be in the same network, otherwise you cannot do that. So there, what's happening, two devices within the network they are communicating each other, but they are not actually using internet. They are using your home's network. Within that network, communication is happening. That's why when you change or connect, if you connect to mobile data on your phone, you will not be able to connect to your TV. In the same way here, all the EC2 instances within the VPC can talk to each other. Subnets may be different. Suppose a database server is this and a EC2 application server is this one. Suppose application server, if it want to communicate with database server, yes, it can. Even though subnet is a different one, everything is part of my VPC, my network. So these devices can make use of this network. They are all residing inside that network. They can communicate. And the other communication is using internet. So client devices, all the client devices will be outside this network. Then if you want your production server or application server, it has to handle the client request, means it has to communicate in the public network. But right now my network don't have anything, any chance of doing that, because I don't have internet gateway. As name itself says, internet gateway. We need this internet gateway. In our home network, your service provider will give you that internet gateway. When he is configuring everything, he will give you a router, and this router will have an internet gateway. And in cloud, you have an option of keeping your entire VPC public or private. Do you want your VPC to be public? Then add internet gateway. No, I don't want my VPC to be a public one. Say certain organization, they have group of people working, say 20 or 30 people working, fine. But they want all of them to work only on the project. So using those computers, EC2 instances, which they work on cloud, they don't want these guys to use that computers to do other activities like downloading, installing, using internet, outside internet, public network. So they have to use organizations network only. Then what they can do, they don't create internet gateway. No internet gateway means no internet access. So we have our application servers, or front end servers. They need to accept a request from the clients. So let's add gateway. Let us call it as internet gateway. And the internet gateway will have this extension -IGW. Just give me a minute, guys. My battery is low. Okay, now, yes, internet gateway is there. That doesn't mean that both of this subnet got internet access. You have something called as route table. Route table decides, but your VPC has internet access now. Suppose if this EC2 instance has to receive anything from the internet or send anything to the internet, it will be able to do, because our VPC has internet gateway, and any instance here can do that. But we want our subnet to be private one. We don't want this internet gateway for our subnet 2. We only want internet gateway for our subnet 1. Clear, guys, these concepts? Internet gateway. And how I can do that? This internet gateway is for my entire VPC, and the subnet 2 is also a part of VPC. You can disconnect this subnet 2 from internet gateway using something called as route table. That's what routers do. When you get an internet connection, you'll get a router. What router will do? It will route traffic on the internet. Not only on the internet, internally inside your network. It routes traffic within your network and also outside the network. Let us also add route table. This is my internet gateway, and this is route table. Both. So this is my route table. And what I can do, by default for VPC, there will be one route table. And that route table by default will be for subnet 1 and subnet 2 also. If you want, you can create one more route table, and in that route table, don't attach your internet gateway. When you have internet gateway, by default, your VPC route table and this one are attached with each other. And what route table does, it routes traffic within the network and also outside the network using internet gateway. Suppose if this is not there, this link is not there, your route table can handle traffic only inside your network, not outside your network, because internet gateway is not attached to your route table. It's a gate, uh, uh, through where route table can route traffic outside. But if this gate is not attached to your route table, it uh, it doesn't know how to do it, so your route table will not do it. Suppose you want to make subnet 2 as a private one, then what you'll do, you'll create one route table and don't attach with your internet gateway. This is one thing, but let's keep it here. Yeah, here. And we have something called as CIDR range, which we will use now to create our VPC. We know all the devices which connect to internet will have something called as IP address. Even your laptop, your phone will have IP addresses. If you open your laptop, if it is Windows laptop, go to command prompt and say ipconfig, it will give you your IP address. I have this scanner. I think we already discussed private and public IP address, right? So private IP address is assigned by your router, whereas public IP address is your network's IP address. We discussed both these things, private IP and public IP. Yes, right? In the same way, here also, in our network also, these EC2 instances, they have public IP, right? They'll get a public IP and they will have private IP also. Private IP is assigned and it is valid within your VPC, whereas public IP is valid on the outside internet. If you go to instance, this is my instance, and uh, go to EC2. Start instance. So this is private IPv4 address. This is private DNS. So this works within the VPC. Here for this instance, default VPC is Mumbai's VPC, right? So this is valid within the Mumbai VPC. This is private. Like your laptop has a private IP address, this is private IP. And public IP. Start instance. It's running. This is public IP. So public IP and private IP. So how these private IP is assigned? So forget about public IP now. You are creating your VPC. And EC2 instances within your VPC should get one private IP address. And you have to mention something called as CIDR range to assign IP address for your instances. So let us talk about this CIDR range while creating VPC. So up to this, I think you guys are clear. Route table, internet gateway, subnetworks. I think these concepts are clear. Okay. Now let's go to our console. I'll go to VPC and you can see subnets, route tables, internet gateways, things we have discussed now. And let us have our own VPC. This is Mumbai's default VPC. There will be no name. I have named this, and we know how to name. Just click on this and name. It's just a name. um, you cannot use it anywhere else. It's just a name. You cannot apply policies using name. It's just a name for identification, for your identification. That's it. And create VPC. So let's call it as my VPC only. And here it's asking the CIDR block. So what is this CIDR block? CIDR is a technique or mechanism, you can call it as a mechanism used to assign IP addresses. When you in real time, when you get a router from service internet service provider, that router will have some CIDR range, and within that CIDR range, it will assign IP addresses to the devices connected to it. Your phone, TV, laptop, etc. Suppose 4 devices are connected, your router will have some CIDR range, and within that CIDR range it will assign IP addresses. Like bandwidth is different. Bandwidth, again, it goes to network. Bandwidth is different. This is just IP addressing. So let me open this thing. Yeah, range. Yeah, it will have some range. Say applications. So I have this IP scanner which scans my network. Okay, I have connected to a different network. Let us change Okay, say this is my router actually, and then your router is assigning these IP addresses. If you observe, this is my laptop, this is my phone, and this is my laptop's IP address, this is my phone's IP address. If I add two more, I'll get IP addresses changing this octet, fourth octet, as 104 and 105. So every it will network will have some CIDR range, and within that CIDR range it will assign IP addresses. And if you observe one more thing, up to here, for all the devices connected to your network will be same, the first three octets. So these three digits, we call it as octet. This one, these three octets will be same. Only this fourth octet will be changing. Say when some other new device came in, network camera, it seems its IP address is this one. If you see, the first three octets are same, only the fourth octet is changing. And randomly your router changes and assigns. That's why we call it as dynamic IP address. When next time when you connect to network after shutting down your laptop, you may get new IP address, and again the first three octets will be the same, only the last octet will be the changing one. That's why we call it as dynamic IP address. Now let us go to our VPC. Now what we are doing, we are setting up our VPC, our own network. So we should give one CIDR range. CIDR range. So each octet, this is one octet. IP address will have 4 octets, and the first 2 octets will be same. You can call the something like subnet mask or something. Uh, these are these will be same for your network, the first 2. Suppose you have added one more router to your network. Say for example, in your home network, you got internet connection, and whenever you connect devices, they are getting one IP address, and we know that how it works, how your router is assigning them. Just now we have discussed. Your router will have some CIDR range. Using that CIDR range, within that CIDR range, it will assign IP addresses. We know that. Now, if you bring in a new router, suppose you have added a new router to your home network. You have one router in your living room and one router in your another room where you do your office work, say for example. You have 2 routers now. If you observe, you can see the change in the third octet. Like, see, this is the router which I have in living room. In my home, I have 2 routers. So this one router, see, first 2 octets are 192, 168. Third octet is 0. And bringing the new router, what I am doing, I am dividing my network into 2 parts. So previously it used to be one big whole network which is operated by single router. When I connect a new router in the same network, what happens? I am splitting my network into 2 parts, and our other router is this one. Let me show you. See, some device is there. This is my laptop again. So only my laptop is there in that other network. So network router. You can see the change in third octet, right? Actually, my network is divided into 2 subnets, and how this division is happening by change in the third octet. Yes, right? So same thing we are doing on the cloud now. We will create one big network, give some CIDR range to it. So here CIDR range, everything is configured by our internet service provider. But when we are creating our own virtual private network or private cloud on the AWS, we have to mention the CIDR range also. So CIDR range stands for classless interdomain routing, and it's a set of IPs, nothing but set of IPs. And we know these 2 IPs, these 4 octets now. These 4 octets are nothing but our IP address. And you can see something called as /16 here. This provides range. When network means not single device will connect to network. There might be 10 devices. If it is an organization, there might be you need 100 or 150 devices connecting to the network. If it is a bigger organization, there will be thousands of devices connecting to the network. So your network CIDR range should be able to allot IP addresses to all of those devices. And this /16 here, whatever it is, you can change this. Will tell you about your CIDR range. So this is your CIDR range. And there is something called as subnet calculator. Using that, you can calculate your range, your network's range. IP subnet calculator. Let's use my this one. This is my router, right? 192.168.1.1. This is CIDR of my router. Let us use this here. Say IP addresses 192.168.1.1. Yes, I don't know what is the range of my home's router or network, but let's say if it is /32. So this provides the range. That means from this IP address to a certain amount of IP address, my router can assign IP addresses. Let's calculate. Okay, this is my IP address, and here we will give prefix length /28. Let's say /28. Calculate and also calculate here. It has to show me the number. It's showing other details. Yes, length exactly. They are length. These are lengths. /30, /31. Length of what? Length of your network. Length decides how many devices can connect to it. Please provide a valid IP. So this is my IP, and let's say calculate. See, for /28, I can have 14 IP addresses. 14 IP addresses means 14 devices can connect. Now, if this one, this router has we don't know, but let's say if it is has /28 means that means this router can connect 14 devices is the max number. Only 14 addresses it can assign. Yeah, it also depends on the router. No, not on the router. It depends upon the internet connection. Which type of internet connection you are getting from your internet service provider. So internet service provider will give you that range, whether it's /28 or /16. Okay. Clear, guys, about CIDR range? Others clear? Yeah. Now we know there will be one network, and that network should have a CIDR range, and within that CIDR range, network will assign IP addresses to the devices, and that has happened in our AWS also. If I go to EC2, so forget about public IP now. We are only talking about private IP addresses. So private IP is 172.31.38.128. This is my private IP address. Coming to VPC, just give me a minute, guys. Sorry, guys. We can also create VPC account with you, ma'am. Yeah, VPC account means here on cloud, yes, we are creating VPC account first. So let me,
Simultaneously, we can also create it, or we just have to follow, then we can create afterwards.
yeah, you can do it later. No need to do in parallel because it become you have to listen and also do. You can do it later, no problem. Okay. See if you see, this is CIDR range of Mumbai's VPC. 172.31, first octet is 172, second octet is 31, third 0 and fourth 0, and it says /16, it's its length or range, and for /16 it can assign 64 or 65,000 IP addresses. /16 means that is the range, 65,000 IP addresses. You can see here /16 will able to give IP addresses for 65,534 devices. Right, and from this, again, this is divided into subnets. We will come, if you look into subnets, so they have been divided like this. If I go to EC2 and check, now it makes sense, right? The private IP address, it's getting its IP address from that CIDR range. These two will be same, and this is subnet. This number, this octet comes from the subnet, and this one will be varying. So let's discuss. Let's create our VPC first. Yeah, go back to VPC. Create VPC. Let us call my VPC, and your CIDR block. Let us use 190 CIDR block, 192.168. You can use any other also. So there is an example. They are saying to use 10.0.0/24. You can also go with that, but don't try with 170s because that IP CIDR range is close to your Mumbai CIDR range, default CIDR range. Just now we have seen that. You might get overlapping error. So try with any other number. You can use 192, or you can go with this 10. You can try with different CIDR range. So here I am using 192, 168.0.0, and from starting here, what should be the ending IP address? The range of IP addresses, I'll say /16. That means my VPC can assign 64 or 65,000 IP addresses. 65,000 devices can connect to this network. /16 means that is my range. So this part clear, right, guys? CIDR block. What this mean? Starting from this address plus 65 IP addresses can be connected to my VPC. Yes, and then we are not going for IPv6. Suppose your network has something like IoT devices, many millions of IP, you need millions of IP addresses, then you can go for IPv6. But let us not opt for that now. Tenancy default and everything you can keep as is and create VPC. Now let us break down this network. This big network which can hold 65,000 devices. Here devices means EC2 instances or other services which need IP addresses. So altogether it can hold 65,000. Let's say 65,000 EC2 instances. Let us break down this bigger network into uh, sub networks. How? I should go to subnets. And let us call these as default. This is default subnet. And this is default subnet. And this is also default subnet. So this is some subnet which I am unable to delete. Delete option C is there. Okay. But anyway, I'll do it later. And subnets. So all these are default subnets. Let us create a new subnet. In which VPC? In my VPC. You can also create subnets in default VPC also. Here we want our subnets in our VPC. Okay. Subnet name, let's call it as my VPC subnet 1. Availability zone, let us keep it as no preference. See, again, your network is in Mumbai's data center. So it's a part of Mumbai's VPC. It's a part of Mumbai availability zone, but it's private to you, logically separated from the default VPC. And here, what is the CIDR block? So here you are splitting up my VPC, right? So the first 2 octets has to be same. Like in my home network, I have 192.168. And for one router, 0 is there. So let us say this subnet has third octet as 0 only. And range, let us use 28. 28 means 14 devices. Only 14 devices can connect to it. You can use any other also, /24, 38, or 22, /20, anything. So I can also say /20 because 65,000 I can divide subnets in that 65,000, right? So let's say /20. That's it. Create subnet. Must be a valid IPv4. Okay, .0. Fourth octet is missing. See, one subnet has created. Let us create one more subnet in my VPC. Subnet name, say my VPC subnet 2. Availability zone, no preference again. CIDR block. We know that first 2 octets has to be same as your VPC. That is 192.168. If you are using 172. Any number 30, so the first 2 octets has to be same. And the third octet has to be different. You are dividing your network into sub networks. First subnet is using third octet as 0. You can try with any other number, 1, 2, 10, 20, 30, any number. I can say 1, or let's say 20. You can use any 20.0/20. Create subnet. Okay, I'll go to subnets. subnet 2 and subnet 1. This is subnet 1, and this is the CIDR range of my subnet 1, and this is the CIDR range of subnet 2. This is subnet 2. Have I given 16? Okay, this is subnet 2. Yeah, I have given 20, right? But why I'm getting 16 here? So let's add one more subnet and check. So it has to be 20. When I give 20, 20 has to be the third octet. Create subnet. (168). Third octet. You should change third octet for your subnets. Let us use 1.0/20. Sometimes you'll get this overlapping issue. So this is nearer to this one. See, this is 0 and this is 1. So you might get this CIDR overlap error. So it's better to use some bigger number which is not nearer to 0, and also 16 is there. So let's use some 40. Create subnet. Give 20 again. Say 20 is again too close to 16, you might get that overlapping error. Here also I got 32. I have given 40, but 32 came. So this is first time I'm getting like this. I don't know the reason also, but it is close. When I gave 40, it assigned me 32, and 20, it's assigned me 16. I'll let you know the reason. Yeah, might be. And again, I'm facing this first time. I don't know the exact reason behind it. Okay, but they are close. For 32, it's taking some close number. So, but you have to choose your third octet, a different one. So now what I have done, I'll go back to my presentation. So this is VPC, which we have created, and the CIDR range 192.168/16. And then we have created 3
Ma'am,
subnets.
sorry
Yes.
to disturb you, ma'am. Can we create one more time so that we can check it? Like first time we have given 20, then he took it 16, then we have given 40, then we have took
32.
32.
Yes.
If we give 60, for example, maybe he will take some other number. Maybe like he's multiplying
Okay.
16, 32.
No, it's taking some random. No, it's not like that. It's not multiplying, I guess. Let's
Now we
try.
can give it 60. Let's try with that.
Okay, my VPC. $60, right? Let's try with 60.
Yes, ma'am.
0/20.
It took 48,
Subnet
ma'am.
for
It took 48.
48. Okay.
63 is a 48.
So yeah, I don't know the reason behind it, but Previously, whatever thing you give here, it used to take it. If it is not valid one, it used to show overlapping error. But now,
Yeah, why it's taking, I mean, why it's like we are giving 68, 60, then it's taking 48. Still
um,
confused, like, okay.
yes,
If you
yes,
know, then please let us know.
yeah, yeah. So I'll let you know in tomorrow's class. So these cloud me will keep on improvising. There might be any recent improvement. I don't know. I'll let you know. Okay. So I have 4 subnets, right? We have divided my VPC into 4 subnets. Internet gateway by default, this is my VPC internet gateway, which I'll delete it. Delete. Okay, this is Mumbai's VPC internet gateway. And while deleting your internet gateways, be careful. Suppose you have attached internet gateway. If you want to delete it, be careful. You can also delete internet gateway of Mumbai VPC. That is the default VPC. That means when you create EC2 instance or any other thing within the VPC database service, etc., they will not
Ma'am,
have
it will
internet.
get deleted if we delete so?
Yes, it will get deleted.
Seriously, I mean,
Yes, yes, I think.
uh,
Detach from VPC. See, you can detach it and delete it. So then, how to fix it? You have to make a call to AWS, and they will provide, or you have to write to support center. They will provide you with some solution.
I mean, will they affect for the whole Mumbai or like
Yeah,
delete?
default VPC. So AWS is maintaining one default VPC for Mumbai. So for that entire VPC, yes, you can delete internet gateway. See, detach. It's unsuccessful. Network VPCs detaching gateway. Okay, you cannot delete internet gateway. Say VPC, you can delete. I think anyone, I think you can delete, because I have some people said that they have accidentally deleted it. So
Don't delete
delete
it, ma'am.
VPC.
Maybe if you delete,
Yes,
then
unable to
something,
delete.
yeah,
In
unable.
use, yes, we have these EC2 instances in use, other things. If they are not there, I think we can delete. Because some of our older participants said that they have deleted the default VPC. I have not done it, but there is a chance, I think so. You can delete the default VPC. But it's to internet gateway. Our internet gateway is attached to this VPC. We are unable to detach it. So if you detach the internet gateways, detach internet gateway, it's unsuccessful. Yeah, because I have an instance running. It has one public IP. Maybe if I don't have that instance, we don't know. There might be chances of deleting internet gateway. Okay, and that's about VPC and subnets. And tomorrow we will see, we will attach one internet gateway to our VPC and also route table. We will discuss this thing tomorrow. And any doubts related to this class, guys?
Only that which you will
Yeah, this
update
one.
tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, then guys, see you tomorrow. Have a good day. Bye bye.